Today I'm going to be going over the best graphics settings on Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 to give you a good balance between performance and quality, especially if you're on a lower budget PC or on a mid-tier PC and are trying to work up into higher resolutions like 1440p or 4K. This video is definitely for you. So to head on into the graphics settings for your display, all of these should be set to default. Your screen refresh rate should be your refresh rate of your monitor. All of these should be set to default. Make sure that's set at full screen exclusive. Everything else is pretty good at the default. For NVIDIA Reflex Low Latency, I have mine on plus boost. Some people find better success with on, but hop into a game with it on, or hop into a game with it on plus boost and see how it performs for you. I find that I get a little bit better performance on plus boost, so that one is personal preference based off of what you find in game. For eco mode, set that on custom. This mode will try to limit your performance to save on power, but we want the best performance possible in this video, so set that to custom. Everything else, VSync I have off, frame rate limit I have on unlimited, and this stuff right here doesn't really matter that much, so let's hop into the real meat and potatoes of this video and into the quality settings. If you've watched other people's videos on this, they might suggest throwing everything on high for the absolute best quality, or throwing everything on low to have the absolute best performance. But I like to have a good middle ground. I went through and tested all of the settings that gives you a good middle ground, where cranking up some of these will have a major hit in performance, but not really aid that much in graphics quality either. I like to have a good middle ground, so I have good graphics quality while also maintaining high performance. So for the graphics preset, you want to set this on custom. These are all just default presets. You want to be able to customize them on your own, so set that to custom. Render resolution, you want that at 100%. This is going to be what resolution your game is being rendered at. If you have this on 100, it's going to be rendering the game at your specific resolution, the resolution of your monitor. So my monitor is a 1440p monitor, so you can see here it's going to be rendering the game at 1440p and then displaying it to me at 1440p. If you knock this number down, you're going to have a quality loss. If you crank this number up, you're going to have a very minor quality improvement, but it's going to have a huge performance hit. For dynamic resolution, I keep this off. For upscaling and sharpening, I use Fidelity FX Cast because that provides a very sharp image. I personally like my game to look sharp and doesn't look super foggy or smooth. I like to see the textures of the game and be able to see longer distances and have it still be clear. So for the Fidelity FX Cast strength, I set mine at 90. That's a personal preference. If you want your image to be a little bit less sharp, turn this down a little bit, or if you want maximum sharpness, turn this all the way up to 100, but I personally like mine at 90. For path tracing and ray construction, I turn this off. For VRAM scale target, this might be defaulted to 90, but I personally recommend turning this down to 70 because I found that having it all the way up at 90 has some stuttering issues and some packet burst issues, at least for me personally. So turn this down to 70. As you can see down here in this bottom right hand corner, it will give you your estimated VRAM usage, and as long as your target is above these areas, this white area and this gray area, then you're good to go. If your target is closer to these areas, then turn this up to 80. I wouldn't recommend turning it up to 90 because that's where I had the issues with the stuttering and packet burst. However, this might change depending on what you change down here in the details and textures, so wait till after we're done in this section to see where you're at. For now, set it to 70. Variable rate shading, I turn off. All right, so getting down into details and textures, this is going to be probably the most important part for your performance and quality. For texture resolution, it looks horrible at very low, especially your camos and your textures around you. Looks horrible. It's going to give you good FPS, but it just doesn't look good. I found that normal is a good middle ground. It shows a lot of detail, and going up to high has a very big performance hit. So I recommend setting this one on normal. For texture resolution, if you are still struggling to get higher frames because of your texture resolution, then you can put it at bare minimum low, but I would not recommend putting it on very low. I personally keep it on normal with my setup. For texture filter anisotropic, this is going to give you better detail while you're looking at an angle at the game. So if you're looking down a lane or something, you can see better detail in cracks. This image on the right is a very poor example. I don't really see much of a difference between these two here, but I recommend setting this on high because it gives you good quality performance while looking down a lane, or just better texture detail overall. Depth of field, I would recommend having this off. I personally don't like the fuzziness it gives on the image when you're aiming down sights. For detail quality level, I have this set to normal. This one will, if you set it on high, will give you a major hit on performance because you're rendering in all of the little textures. As you can see over here, this one is set to low, this one's set to high. This one kind of looks like triangles for the flowers. This one you can see each individual leaf and petal, and also more grass. I have this set to normal. That's a good happy medium. For particle resolution, I have this set on very low. As you can see on the right, this image on the right has it on very high, and it looks great. It looks awesome, but stuff like this with a lot of particles that look really good happens really fast, and nobody's going to be paying attention to the amount of detail that it's giving off as quickly as it happens. So I recommend having this set on very low, because if you do have this set higher, it will have a significant hit on your FPS. For bullet impacts, I recommend having this on because it will show you where your bullet's impacting and you can get used to spray patterns. For persistent effects, I recommend having this off because persistent effects will be like if a grenade blows up next to a wall and it has like an explode pattern on the wall, it will keep that there for a longer period of time, which will have a hit on your performance overall. Shader quality, this one is a big one. Shader quality, I recommend having this set on medium. Medium makes the game look beautiful. Low, the game doesn't look so great. High, it also looks beautiful, but medium is a good, happy middle ground for performance. The game still looks awesome. The lighting looks awesome, and you still get good performance while having it on medium. For on-demand texture streaming, I recommend having this turned off, especially if you're having an issue with packet burst or connectivity issues. What this basically does is it uses downloaded textures from the internet as you play the game to give surfaces more detail. However, with these settings overall, you're going to have good quality image, so you don't really need on-demand texture streaming, and it's going to cause a hit on your internet. For local texture streaming quality, I just have this set to low. Again, kind of the same thing as the on-demand texture streaming. For shadow quality, I have this on normal. It's going to give you a good shadow quality. As you can see on the right-hand side, here's the difference. The shadow here looks all smudgy. This one looks very crisp, and you can see all the details of the grate here. Setting this on normal, there is not a big difference between normal, high, and ultra, but there is a difference in performance, so normal is a great spot for that. All of these I have set to off. On static reflection quality, I have this set to low. Really is not going to make a big difference here in terms of how your game looks, so I just recommend setting that to low. For your environment tessellation, I just recommend having it off. Volumetric quality, I recommend having it on low, and then these other three off. Now, lastly, we go into view. I personally like having my FOV turned all the way up to 120 so I can see the most area possible. As you can see on this side, this is what you're going to be seeing. So 120, you see all of this area. 100, you see significantly less, and then it goes down as you lower that. So I recommend having it on 120. If you like it, if you like the look of it at 100, then go for it. I just personally like being able to see as much possible on my peripheral vision. For ADS field of view, I like having mine on affected instead of independent. So what this does is it zooms in your camera a little bit when you're aiming in with low magnification optics like a red dot or iron sights, and I personally like this so you can see a little bit better when at the target you're aiming at. For weapon field of view, I like having this set on wide. It makes my weapon look as small as possible to get it out of my screen. I'm not going to go into third person field of view because there isn't really many applications for third person vehicle. I also have that on wide. It's the same thing as the weapon. Motion blur, turn that crap off. Film grain, turn it off. Those just look bad. They just don't look good. So just turn them off. Then for the rest of the camera settings, on first person camera movement, I like to have mine on least. So when I'm running around, my camera is not shaking. This is how much your camera will shake or move while playing in first person. I like to have mine on least. I like to have as little as camera shake as possible. For these other settings, don't really matter unless you like playing in third person. For spectator camera, I recommend changing this to game perspective. I think default is helmet cam. I personally like game perspective more. You can switch it in game, but this is going to be what your game will default to after you die and you're spectating. Inverted flashbang, I personally keep this off because I like the original flashbang. If you want the flashbang to go dark when you get flashed instead of light, then you can turn this on, but that's not going to really make that big of a difference. That is all personal preference. But anyways, guys, this is going to wrap up my quality settings video. This video is going to give you the best performance and quality, a good balance between the two, so your game doesn't look like crap, but you're also not sacrificing FPS for quality. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more content. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.